Hi, this is Coach Eddie Thomas. Welcome to this edition of CCS Sports Night. Hi, this is Coach Eddie Thomas, and welcome to this edition of CCS Sports Night. Before we have this week's feature, let's get right to the night scoreboard from this past week. Checking the night scoreboard, starting in varsity boys basketball, the Knights played well in a 58-52 loss to Calvary Day of Winston-Salem. The Knights were ranked number 12 in the state and Calvary Day number 7, and it was Coach Bill Thompson's 200th game as coach of the varsity boys. On Friday night, the Knights defeated St. David's 63-55 to improve to 2-1 in the conference and 10-7 overall. In the varsity girls-only game last week, they remained undefeated in the conference with a 52-34 win at home over St. David's. The Lady Knights are now 3-0 in the conference and 12-4 overall. The JV boys basketball team had two big wins last week, first defeating Calvary Day 35-32, then St. David's on Friday 44-28 to improve to 10-5 on the season. It was their fifth straight win and their seventh in the last 8 games. In JV girls basketball, earlier in the week, Fayetteville Christian defeated the Lady Knights 30-16, but the JV girls bounced back with a 30-29 win over Calvary Day's varsity team on Friday night. JV girls are now 4-7, and they've won 2 of their last 3. Moving to middle school basketball, the Gold Boys basketball team had 2 more wins last week, defeating St. David's 54-20, and then a tight win over Wake Christian 33-30 on Thursday night. Both were conference wins. The Gold Boys are now tied for first at 6-1 in the conference and 11-2 overall. Gold Boys have won 9 of their last 10 games. The Gold Girls split their 2 games last week, losing to St. David's 29-19, then bounced back with a 13-9 win over Wake Christian. The Gold Girls are now 2-5 in the conference, 2-10 overall. They've won 2 of their last 3 games. The Blue Boys basketball team lost their 2 games last week, losing to St. David's 41-17 and at Wake Christian 41-24 on Thursday. The Blue Boys are now 4-9 on the season. The Blue Girls also lost their 2 games last week, falling to St. David's 22-6, then dropping a tough one to Wake Christian 22-1. The Blue Girls are now 2-8 on the season. Turning to wrestling, on Saturday, CCS competed in the Independent Middle School State Tournament at Ravenscroft School in Raleigh, and the varsity team returns to action on February the 1st for an individual tournament at Cary Academy. In swimming, the Knights had a big EPIC meet on Thursday with Wake Christian and St. David's at the Triangle Aquatic Center. The CCS girls and boys finished in second place. The Knights finished 7 points behind first place Grace in the girls competition, and the boys were only 2 points shy of first place Grace Christian. In the meet, 5 CCS swimmers posted state qualifying times in 6 different events, and 15 swimmers have qualified for states in 15 different events, and 5 new school records have been set this season. Quickly checking the Sports Night calendar, this Friday night, the JV and varsity basketball teams travel to Grace Christian for the annual Play for K Games. The games highlight cancer awareness in our community, and they help raise funds for the K-Yao Foundation. Coming up soon during this segment of Sports Night, our first CCS Athlete of the Month will be recognized, and it's sponsored by Riccobini Family Dentistry. Time now for this week's Sports Night special feature.
We want to implement here at Cary Christian is to honor some of our athletes that go on to play college basketball, college lacrosse, field hockey, whatever sport may be, and just recognize their achievements here, the things they did here, and how proud we are of them as they go on into their collegiate careers as well.
giving you something special to remember Carey Christian by, although we have a lot of great memories anyway.
It was awesome. This is only the second time I've been back, actually, since I think I graduated. So, well, other than the alumni game that one time, but I came back earlier this year for a game. It was my brother's team actually played, and then this will be the only other time I came back. It's good to see some familiar faces. The gym is a lot smaller than I remember it, especially after the gym we've been on. But I mean, it's a blessing to be back. It's good to see Coach. It's awesome that he got a chance to do something like this. I know how much he appreciates kind of some of the alumni coming back every once in a while. So I'm glad I got to see him and told him I loved him and missed him. It was good to see him. So. I think I don't know which year it was, either junior or senior year, at St. David's. We won. I don't remember the score. I know it was a close game. We beat them. It's funny, I always mess around with one of my teammates now, Robbie O'Han. He used to go to St. David's. He never beat us when he played me for those 3 to 4 years. So I always joke around with him about that. But probably my favorite memory would be just the away wins at St. David's, and then the conference championships for sure were awesome as well. Probably the biggest thing I've learned just through playing basketball ever since I started was every time you go from the next level, whether that's middle school to high school, JV to varsity, me going from high school to college, you're going to look back on those years and wish you would have done more. I mean, it's funny that I'm saying this now when I'm still playing, but as my last year at UNC, I've just been trying to do everything I can, extra reps, whatever it is, because when I was in middle school, when I was in high school, the last thing I was thinking of was, I'm going to wish I did this or didn't do that. But, my advice would just be, just do everything you can, literally. Extra reps, whatever that is, extra workouts, shots, whatever you can do. Because you're going to look back and be a lot prouder of yourself if, you can say, I didn't miss out on anything. I gave it everything I had. It's just been, people ask me this all the time, and I'm still in shock. It's unreal to say I play basketball in college, and also to say, I play at UNC, one of the most well-known programs in history. It's just been a blessing. For me, it makes it just easy to come in there and go to work. I kind of try to remind myself every day that there's so many people out there that wish they were in my position. So there's not a day that I can go in there and say, I don't want to practice today, or I don't want to do this. So really, it's just been the way I was raised, a UNC fan, and now playing at UNC, it's just too much of a dream come true to not, soak up every moment. So I'm not quite sure yet. I haven't closed the doors on basketball yet. Gonna look into some overseas options, see what things are looking like there. My technical degree was in business with a concentration in finance and sales, so I am currently interviewing at some places in the area, Lenovo, Cisco, for positions in those areas in case I don't do basketball. So really only time will tell. I'm not sure yet. I'm definitely not trying to rush into the workforce though. So.
Thanks for watching. Join us again next week for another edition of CCS Sports Night.